thank you. Tom, talk to me today.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So, still early January, and for me every year I think about the end of the year and the beginning of the year, and so my thought of the day is titled the end of the year, beginning of the year, and an appreciation for Homeboy. And I say that because this past month, it's sort of been hard for me to get my brain wrapped around what was nagging at me along the way, and I finally was able to figure it out. And so the other thing about today is the 4-year anniversary of my mom passing. And so this is a little bit also an appreciation for my mom. And my dad passed away when I was in my mid-20s, so really mom was the only parent we had for the last 35 years along the way. So, and it's, you know, I came to learn over this past month thinking about what was nagging at me. It was clear that I had a heavy heart and a sorrow and aching heart along the way. And it sort of came into more focus for me as I was thinking about what I want to share with my mom, if she was still here. Now look, all of us obviously have a mom. All of us have a mom who's been important to us. Relationship with parents are complicated. Sometimes we have good relationships with our parents, sometimes not. But we've had a grandmother or an aunt who really was that mother-like figure in our lives. And so I say all that because many of you heard me talk about at the end of November I got back from a vacation trip. And it was a long planned on trip. It was one of those bucket list trips that my wife and I went on. And it was just phenomenal. I was able to, we went to South America and Antarctica. And I was able to see nature in an unspoiled, untouched way. And for me, I felt like it was like, you see how God created this world. He had all this insight into it. And as I was sort of in awe and seeing the wonder of that part of the world, I wanted to share it with somebody. And my first instinct to share it with was my mom. And so it was interesting. So for me, I said, and I think, let me call her. She's not around to call. It was interesting for me, after all these years, I still wanted to call my mom and to share what I had. I had childlike joy of what I experienced. And she was the one I wanted to share it with most. Now, if my wife watches this, my wife was with me, so I would normally call my wife too. But my wife's covered with the story, but it's like after all these years, why did I miss? Obviously, I miss my mom so much. Then I was doing some reading along the way, and there's this good quote from Thomas Aquinas. So St. Thomas Aquinas said that wonder was the first step that leads to God. Wonder is the first step that leads to God. So if you're in wonder, that is a step. You get a step closer to God, and you experience God in a way. And again, my instinct was to call my mom and to share it with her. And my heart was breaking a little bit that she wasn't around. Trip's over, I come back. Turns out early December is my birthday. So I remember driving home from work, yearning for that phone call from my mom. She said, what do you want on your birthday? A call from your mom along the way. 3 days later, it's her birthday, and I know on December 9th, I'm going to make sure I track down Mom. I'm going to call her. She lived on the East Coast. But yeah, she wasn't there. And I kept thinking more about Mom, and also what makes this Homeboy community so special is that what I've been able to learn along the way. And so here I have this little bit of sorrow, a little bit of heartache, and you know, my past life I would sort of just suppress it and move on and soldier up and move forward. But at Homeboy, you kind of learn to kind of sit with it, think about it, reflect upon it. And what it enabled me to do is reflect upon that in many ways this Homeboy community, for many of us, is a place, a safe space where we can have that childlike joy and share it with each other, have that wonder where we can share with each other. I remember about 5 years ago, my mom came to visit us in California, and she wanted to come visit Homeboy, which was terrific. But I was nervous, you know, what would she think of it, how would she react, and all those things, right? And I still have this indelible image in my brain of that experience. It was wonderful, as typical. You all were so welcoming to her. And those of you who met her, you were effusive with your kindness and your respect and your friendliness. And it just warmed my heart over to see my mom experience what we get to experience so very often here at Homeboy. And I'll remember that for the rest of my life, and her reaction and my reaction to her reaction. And so I want to end again with this Thomas Aquinas quote: having wonder is the first step that leads to God. If, without a doubt, we are a beloved community here, where we treat each other in relationship the way God would want us to be in relationship with each other, human to human, heart to heart, soul to soul. So thank you for making this a beloved community.